Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Screwed. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr. With me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing tonight?
This is going to be a fun show. This is going to be a crazy show. Um, Maybe not. I mean, you might not think it's crazy, but well, you probably will think it's crazy. Actually, me and old boy were talking about this at the end of Staring, and then a little bit off the air, and we're going to get into it here. He's rather skeptical. Let me go through the science. This is called the sugar diet, right? Sugar fasting and the sugar diet. And the question here is sugar the next miracle diet? Like this is crazy, and I'm going to go through the actual evidence on it, and it blows me away. For all of our life, we've been told that eating sugar makes you fat, gives you diabetes, all that stuff, right? But it turns out that's not actually what's going on. There's other factors. It's not sugar that's the problem. See, the way your cell works is it can run on glucose, like sugar, right? That's its preferred fuel. But it can also run on fat, right? Fat gets turned into energy in the cell, but it is a very slow process. It can also take proteins, and it can break down the protein and turn it into sugar, but that is a even slower process, and it is a very labor intensive process, not very efficient at all. But it can't do both, right? It can either do sugar or it can do protein and fat, but it can't do them at the same time. So if you look at the standard American diet, pretty much everything has fat in it and sugar in it. And that combination of sugar and fat together is very, very dangerous. That's what makes you fat. You pretty much don't have a chance in hell of not becoming fat if you're eating food that has sugar and fat both in it. The only way you can avoid it is if you restrict your calories well below your needs. That's the only way you're losing weight. Okay? So, let's start with sugar fasting. We'll go through both. Sugar fasting, this is something that, let me get these out in the very beginning of the show, okay? The hat tips here to these people that have been doing this work and putting out this information. You got people like Cole Robinson. He's a guy that does the snake diet. You got Mark Smelly Bell. He's kind of been listening to what Cole has been saying and doing it himself a little bit, and he's joined with him. He's doing more of like the actual sugar diet and the sugar fasting, but he talks a lot about the diet as well. You got people like Durian Ryder, who has been doing this shit for decades. He's like a cyclist and a runner, and he's a vegan. I think he's still vegan, and he eats a ton of sugar all the time. You got a lot of people in this space that have been doing this for quite a long time. Okay, so let me talk to you about first sugar fasting, what that is. Sugar fasting is essentially 6 foods that you're eating on these fasting days. It is table sugar, okay? It is fruit, fruit juice, maple syrup, honey. Okay? That's essentially what you're eating. You're not eating protein at all. No protein. You're not eating any fat. No fat. And you're not eating your starches and stuff either. So on those days, you can have any sugar you want. You can have unlimited fruit juice. You can have as much maple syrup as you want to eat. You can have as much honey as you want to eat. Right? So what you're doing is you're massively loading your system with sugar. Now you might think that's crazy, right? I thought that was crazy too before I looked at the studies and the science. But it's amazing what the body actually does. When you're consuming tons and tons of sugar in the absence of protein and fat, okay? No protein, no fat, just sugar. When you're doing that, your body will actually speed up your metabolism. Because the way your hunger works, you eat and eat and eat until you get the proper amount of protein that your body needs. Once you've reached that point, your body says, okay, that's enough. You're full. You're not going to have any more. Because we've got all we need. You don't have to eat anymore. You're good. But if you're not eating protein and you're not eating fat, you're going to keep on eating until you get the amount of protein you need. Now, you're going to get small amounts of protein from the fruit that you're eating. Okay, and the fruit juice. That's okay. You're just trying to keep that number as low as humanly possible and fat as low as humanly possible. So when you overload yourself with sugar like that, what happens is your blood is full of sugar, your cells are full of sugar, your muscles go through glycation. They're full of sugar, okay? You still haven't got the protein in you need. So your body says, shit, we need protein. But there's so much sugar in here, and he's been eating so much, he can't eat anymore. So what the body does is it cranks up that metabolism. Now it does that through a protein hormone called FGF21. Okay? That stands for fibroblast growth factor 21. And what that does is it ramps up your metabolism like you're a teenager again. I mean, by multiple times. So you're burning calories like crazy. It is damn near impossible when you're eating sugar and no fat and no protein to eat your way out of the calories that you're burning. You're always going to be in a caloric deficit because your metabolism is on fire, dude. It is cranked to the gills and it is rolling. So you're definitely losing weight. Okay? So that's basically what you're going to do on a sugar fast. Is you're going to eat nothing but sugar, and then your body's going to lose a shit ton of weight. It's that simple. Okay? The reason it does it is because of the FGF21 hormone that multiplies your metabolism through the damn roof. So you're burning like crazy. Okay? On the days that you're not sugar fasting, you're going to do what's called the sugar diet. And I'll get into that. What the sugar diet is, has several different names. We're just going to call it the sugar diet because that makes it easy, right? It used to be called the honey diet. Some people call it fruit till noon. Some people call it fruit till 4. Okay? So essentially what you're doing is you're eating the same foods that you were eating on a sugar fast up until either lunchtime or dinner time. Like you want to have your breakfast and your lunch be the sugar fast foods. Okay? Then your dinner time, you're going to have a piece of lean meat, whatever kind you want, as long as it's lean. You don't want a bunch of fat. And you're going to have yourself a starch, like potatoes or rice or whatever like that with it, and some veggies. And that's your dinner. So that's your normal sugar diet. What that does is it keeps you losing weight at a lower level. You're not going to lose it as fast. But it maintains your weight at where you want it to be. You're not going to gain weight that way. And what it does is it also, because you're doing breakfast and lunch, sugar fasting, and then you're having the meat, all your protein and stuff at night, your metabolism is going to stay cranked. So that if you do go out and have a cheat day where you get yourself, ice cream and pizza and burgers and all kinds of shit you're not supposed to be eating, it's okay because your metabolism is cranking through the freaking roof. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention about sugar fasting, the last thing is candy. You can have candy on the sugar fasting as well. But when I say candy, I don't mean chocolate bars. We're not talking Hershey bars, Snicker bars, all that kind of stuff. It has to have 0 fat. So essentially what you're talking about is like gummy bears, Sour Patch Kids, that kind of stuff. Stuff that has 0 fat. That's the other part of the sugar fasting. Along with the fruit juice, the table sugar, the maple syrup, the honey, and then you can have the no-fat candies, like gummy bears or those little Coke bottles or, those kind of things that have 0 fat. So that's how you maintain, okay? Now, one concern a lot of people have with this diet is it's going to give you diabetes. That's what they say. But the evidence is actually the opposite. That it actually helps with insulin sensitivity and is actually curing people of diabetes. People that were diabetic are no longer diabetic because of this diet. Now, if you eat a shit ton of sugar and you're also eating fat and protein, you're screwed. You're going to get fat as hell. You're going to get diabetes. Okay? The reason this works is because you're cutting all your protein out and you're cutting all your fats out. And you're only eating the sugar. And it's cranking your metabolism and you're doing great. Another aspect of this is the fact that you're eating fruit and fruit juice. Okay? A lot of that sugar that you're getting is fructose. Right? It's not sucrose, it's fructose. So what does that mean? Well, it's metabolized in the body differently. Okay? Fructose, the majority of that goes straight to your liver. It's not going into your blood as much. It's going straight into your liver. And it's metabolized by the liver, so there's no insulin response to the majority of that fructose that's actually being consumed. Now, the other half of the sugar, right, the sucrose actually does have an insulin response still. But that's okay, because you have an insulin response whenever you eat anything. Your blood sugar is always going to spike when you eat. Whether you're eating meat or you're eating veggies or fruit or candy or whatever the hell you're eating, it's always going to spike. But what you got to have it come back down within a set amount of time. I think it's like a couple hours. That's normal and healthy. Okay, so what you're doing is you're training your body, and you're helping with insulin sensitivity, and you're going to end up curing yourself of diabetes, is what they say. Okay, by doing this. The science on it is amazing. They've done a lot of studies with mice and stuff where they feed diets of a lot of sugar and then the normal. Then you have a control group that gets a normal, and then you have a group that gets like tons of protein. And the ones that get tons of protein gain a bunch of weight. And the ones that eat nothing but sugar lose a bunch of weight. And the control group stays the control group, right? So it's been shown in studies to work. It's working in real life for people. There's a lot of people that are losing a lot of weight. And when I say a lot of weight, I'm not talking like a pound a week. They're losing a pound a day on this diet, which is crazy. That's a lot of weight loss, you know? And that's on the sugar fasting part. The actual sugar diet part, you're not going to lose as fast. That weight loss is going to be a couple pounds a week, or maintained depending on how much of the fat you have with your dinner and everything. But it's promising, man. And it's one of those things that flips everything on its head, you know? Because I've been very open on this channel about my nutrition journey. Okay? I ate a standard American diet for years. Most of my life. And then I had issues with my blood work. And the doctor was telling me I was going to have a massive heart attack and die. And that I needed to make a change. So I looked into it, and what all the science said was go vegetarian, plant-based, right? So I don't mess around. When I'm going to do something, I do it. So I went full-ass vegan for a full year. And that was a hard adjustment to make at first because I don't like vegetables all that much, right? But I went full vegan, and now I love vegetables. And all of my numbers improved. I did great. But I wasn't feeling as energetic as I needed to be because, unfortunately, I cut sugar out of my diet as well, other than what I would get from a little bit of fruit. But I wasn't eating any kind of real sugar to speak of. So I didn't have any energy. And that sucked. So then I went carnivore because that started to get popular, and I started looking at the research on carnivore, and it has its place. Like keto and carnivore has its place. But the problem with keto and carnivore, you can't stay on that diet long term. And I'll tell you why, because your brain runs on glucose. Your thyroid gland runs on glucose. Now, yes, you can take protein, and the body can convert protein into glucose to feed the brain and the thyroid. But that process, like I said before, is very inefficient. And it is a long, laborious process for the body. And it causes a lot of stress on the body. So what the body does is it produces massive amounts of cortisol because of that stress. And that's not good for you. You know, and eating a carnivore diet will actually cause you to become insulin resistant because you're not getting the proper insulin spikes and come downs like you're supposed to, right? So I went carnivore for quite a while. I've done it a couple times. And I kind of cycle my diet, right? I eat different things. And I don't stay carnivore for too long because if you stay carnivore too long, then you start running into problems, health wise. Now, some people don't. Don't get me wrong. Some people don't. Some people are carnivore for years and years and years and they love it and they're doing amazing on it and they're great. I'm not one of those people. Unfortunately for me, if I stay that way too long, then I start experiencing problems. So I kind of switch it up a lot. And now I'm kind of tinkering with this sugar diet thing a little bit, the sugar fasting and the sugar diet, because I really enjoy sugar, right? Like that's my thing. I love carbs, and that's one thing that makes carnivore so difficult for me when I do carnivore is not eating the carbs because I love carbs. I'm a carbs guy. That's my chosen food if I can eat it. That's why being vegan was so easy for me. The adjustment was hard to find vegetables I liked and all that kind of stuff. But once I did, man, I was off to the races because I love that stuff. So that's the information on the sugar diet. It's very promising. It completely changes everything that we thought we knew about nutrition, which is amazing. And sugar, believe it or not, is a health food if you're eating it in the absence of protein and fat. Fat's the major problem. Your protein on the sugar diet, you're getting in the evening. So you're still getting the protein you need. The fat is the issue. The fat is the problem. And a lot of people say, well, if I eat that and I limit my protein, then I'm going to lose muscle mass. Well, the thing is, you actually don't. Carbs are muscle sparing. And the reason is if you're filling your body with sugar, like I said earlier, your blood is full of sugar, your muscles are full of sugar. They glycate. There's sugar all through them, right? So why would your body take the protein in your muscles and say, hey, we got to break this protein down and we got to turn it into glucose because we need glucose? Why would your body do that when it's got a shit ton of sugar running through it? You got glucose coming out your freaking ears. Your body doesn't need to break down protein for that. So what that does is it means you don't actually need as much protein as you think you do. That's what that means. So you can have your protein in the evening and do that sugar thing all day, and your metabolism is going to be through the freaking roof, man. You're going to be shredded as hell. It's going to be amazing. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm not a fat guy. I'm a pretty large individual. I'm 6'5", and I've got some muscle mass on me. And I haven't lost any muscle mass doing it. Now, granted, I haven't been doing it but a week, but I haven't had any issues. And I feel good and I feel like energetic and all that kind of stuff. I like to experiment on myself. I like to look at the science, look at the studies, see what it says, and then I like to experiment and see what happens. And so far, so good. But that's the science on it. It's very, very cool. We're going to have to see long term what happens. But this is something that people like Ray Peat were talking about years ago. This goes back a long, long time. Of this idea that sugar actually is not as bad for you as what people say, that it's the fat that's the problem. That's been out there for a long, long time. It's just, that's not what nutrition was focused on, So, anyway, that's the sugar diet. That's sugar fasting. I hope I covered everything. I remembered everything. Because this was an impromptu show. We didn't plan on this at all. This is just by memory. But I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and see what he has to say about it. Like I said in the beginning, he was very, very skeptical when I said it because he was diabetic at one time. But if he has any questions that he wants to ask, if I can answer them, I will. If there's anything that I forgot or whatever, but otherwise, we'll just get his opinion. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I'm just gonna say this. I'm getting used to this stupid thing. I just hit the wrong thing. Um, and good evening, everyone. The truth is, I'm a. The reason why I'm going to argue this is because of me. I'm going to be honest. If you're eating, certain people could probably do this. Some people can't. I don't eat any sugar, but that's impossible because very rarely. So in 7 years, I've already proved them wrong. I'm the opposite of what, but I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I'll sneak a little bit sugar here, a bite, peanut butter has a little bit of sugar in it. I cheat, I don't eat like a whole candy bar. I'll take a bite of something here and there, ice cream here and there. But my sugar doesn't really, everything makes you spike. But I don't, if you look at me, guys, just so you know, from January, I weighed 243 and a half. Now I weigh 221. I'm almost back before COVID, around COVID, before I got sick, to 210. I don't want to ever get there, maybe another 10 pounds. But if you guys look at me, I'm thin out, like not, I'm back, other than the beard and long hair, I'm back to the old boy thing before I got sick and COVID, when I lost all my weight. Another thing is diet sodas. This is I haven't drank a diet soda, but maybe once or twice in 4 months. I don't really drink alcohol anymore. I cut a lot of bread out, a lot of fried stuff. I don't eat French fries and stuff like that. And you've seen, and I walk a lot. And I'm very, very much healthier than I was. Um, I don't really eat a lot of sugar. Once in a while, I'll have something, but I've even baffled them. But again, different people can do different things. Some people can eat sugar and it won't bother them, and it probably does lose weight. He's probably right. If you're eating at night, you have to understand that's why they said you have to listen to the title. It isn't just you're eating sugar all the time. You're eating sugar and then you're eating other stuff. That's what the headline should be. Then I totally agree. It could happen with most people, but people like me, it wouldn't. Um, there's different diabetes. You have diabetes 1 and 2. One is no insulin, the other one's overload of insulin. One, it's the opposite. You wouldn't want to the pancreas doesn't work, so there's no way of even messing with the sugar, but maybe we could figure out something there. But that's people who are usually born with it, or sometimes it just happens. If you have diabetes 2, you can turn to diabetes 1. 2 is the one you can a lot of people don't realize you could put it in a mission, and I have done it. Look at me. Okay, 7 years ago almost, they told me I was going to die if I didn't take metformin. Really? I'm dead. I must be. I must came back from the dead because I'm sitting here talking with James. How'd that work out for you? Just like when they said, "Oh, if you don't take thyroid medicine, you're gonna die in 32 years ago." I guess I must be a ghost that's lived 32 years. Just so you guys know, they don't know everything, and this is a test. And you know what? I would like to see more about it. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It would just that people have to listen to the title and actually follow no, oh, I can eat a bunch of fucking cereal and then go eat 6 7 pop tarts and have a hamburger at McDonald's, and yeah, I'm gonna lose all my weight. You're not. That's not what he's meaning. And that's why I said people need to realize you can't eat shit like that. That's not what he's talking about, because I'm going to be honest, a lot of that processed food has sugar all underneath, so you're overloading all together with sugar. um and that's why I try to tell people you don't eat this shit. That McDonald's, I mean, once in a while I'll go run. I know it's cheap, maybe once every couple weeks. I'm not saying don't ever eat it again, but it's not really good for you. Don't eat it every day. Like that one, I don't know how the one, yeah, but they see that one motherfucker is eating like 5 Big Macs in 40 years, and he's done it. See, there's people, it amazes me. My grandfather was the same way. He smoked to his 83 and he got sick finally, but he ate steak and all that shit to his 86 and it killed him finally. But he did that to his late mid 80s. Some people can, like, he smoked and it hits them, but when it hits them, they're done. But like they could do it for like 20, 30 years. Like the one lady, she drank Dr. Pepper every day, and she's 101 years old now. Three of her doctors dead, and the other one, she said, "I'm gonna outlive you too." So I mean, it matters. It's some people are different. Like me, I think I'm different. I'm different than most people. Like if you've seen how big I had thyroid issues, I would have been big like James, but my thyroid messed up when I was young, and we didn't know about it at first. So I grew to 6'1", and then my back got messed up, so I'm about 6 foot now, and that happens. You lose a half inch to an inch. And I was a big dude. I was two something 100 pounds. When he met me, I was almost 300 pounds, and I was gonna die. I was sick, going to die. I don't know what was meant. Why am I meant to live? I don't know why. What more I can do, but apparently I'm here for longer because I need to be for some reason. And I get it, but there's something about me. There's some people who are different. I mean, Rasputin, we need to do a show about him because he was different. Yeah, I got stabbed, ate rotten food, didn't kill him. They poisoned me, didn't die. They're just some people are different. And I believe that that goes that they have some certain gene in them. There was the one guy who he couldn't get full. His stomach was bigger than most people, and he actually got to the point. And this was like in the 1700s. They actually said he actually would eat they locked him away, but when the dead would die, he would go and sneak around and eat them because he was so hungry. He'd eat anything. He wouldn't get full. There's people who eat glass. You see it. They actually eat glass and it doesn't do anything to them. There's something, some people have certain abilities I think they can tap into. There was a guy who he could swim in Antarctica, and he could literally, they showed it, he could make his body heat up before he jumped in the water. So most people's body heats around 98 to 99. They actually changed it 99.1 because some people's bodies run higher. He could get his body up to about 109, 108. Well, when he jumped in the water, like for me and you, it'd be freezing. No, his blood was like 10, 15 higher than most people, and it actually got hotter when he got in the water, went up to about 13. So his body got warmer going in cold water. That's insane. They actually did the tests doing this. He actually trained his body and evolved his body to do this. There's these people in I think in the Pacific Island. They could dive, and they were raised to dive deep, not like we and you can, and stay under the water longer. And they've just been raised that way. And they actually evolved to hold their breath longer than most people can. They just done it. That's why some people believe in mermaids, and some of our ancestors changed and evolved and left, and they're a lot smarter than us. And everything we see is there's some truth to it, and I believe that. But we're getting a little longer than I wanted to. This was a good show. I'm glad everybody liked it. I want to give everybody a shout out on Spotify. Check us out on James Hirsch's YouTube page. You guys want merchandise, you can go to Teespring, staringintotheabyss.com, and get shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. Glad you guys are enjoying it. The summertime's almost here, and it's getting hot here. So, but unfortunately, James, it's not for him. But that being said, I love you guys, and you guys have a good night. There you go, brother.
Notice one thing that you said when you said you'll cheat sometimes and have like a bite of a candy bar or something like that, or ice cream or whatever. All of those things have one thing in common: they have fat in them. So yes, if you're eating candy bars, you're going to have issues because they have sugar, but they also have the fat. So the secret is, if you're going to eat candy, it has to be zero fat. Okay, you can eat things like gummy bears. You can eat any kind of gummy stuff. Usually has no fat. Just look on the label. If it says zero fat, you're good to go, because that's what you want. You want zero fat, zero protein. Keep those numbers in the basement as low as you can, and then you want to eat a lot of calories. You're not restricting your caloric load on sugar fasting days whatsoever, because the whole point is you want to overload your system with sugar so that your body will produce the hormone FGF21, and it will boost your metabolism like crazy. And then when your metabolism gets boosted like crazy, you're burning calories faster than you can eat them. So you're going to lose weight. That's the whole point. And when you lose weight, all of your numbers get better, which is a great thing. And people are losing, like I said, about a pound a day on it, which is spectacular. It can help a lot of people. Now, this is not something that you probably want to do every single day of your life for the rest of your life. This is a tool. It's a weapon. It's something to be used to take control of your health and to be able to lose the weight that you need to get off so that you can be healthier. And then from that point, once you get to your goal weight where you want to be, then you can either do the sugar diet part where you're having, the fruit and stuff during the day, and then in the evening when you have your dinner, you're having meat and potatoes and that kind of stuff. Or you can do any kind of diet you want at that point. And if you start to gain weight again, you got that sugar fasting weapon in your back pocket. You can pull out and say, okay, I know how to do this to lose weight. It's a tool. It's something to be used. It's not something that... See, here's the problem with nutrition. People get too dogmatic about it. They get too wrapped up in it to where they are only this and that's all. Like, I catch shit all the time because I went standard American diet to vegan, and then from vegan to carnivore, then carnivore to Mediterranean, then back to carnivore. You see what I'm saying? I switch a lot. And people get pissed off about that because I keep flip-flopping on shit. But I don't look at it as flip-flopping, man. I don't care. All I want to be is healthy. I'm just looking for the truth. I'm looking for what the diet actually should be that's healthy. And the truth is, sometimes you switch around. You know, you can eat vegetables. You can eat fruit. They're healthy. Now, some of them have oxalates and anti-nutrients and stuff like that, so you got to prepare them certain ways to be okay. You know, a good example of that is like a lot of the beans, if you eat those raw, you die. Like, they got to be prepared and cooked before you can eat them safely. You know, spinach has a ton of oxalates in it. Very, very bad for you. Gives you kidney stones, all kinds of stuff. But by cooking it, it reduces that number. You know, so, I mean, you still don't want to eat a bunch of it, but, you know, there's ways around that stuff. And they have good nutrients in them that you can eat. And the truth also is meat is good, and it's good for you. But you gotta have a balance between the things, you know? So you should always be changing. You should always be searching and trying to find the truth and trying to find the best evidence. And if you just stick with one thing forever and you never grow and you never learn and you never change, you're foolish. In my view, it's dumb. Because if you stay carnivore long term, you're going to have issues with your thyroid. You're going to end up being insulin resistant. That's just the truth. And if you stay vegan all the time, you never have any meat, you're going to have a hell of a hard time getting enough protein. That's just the truth. So why not do a little bit of everything? You know, find out what works, figure out how the body actually uses the food. Look at the studies, look at the science, and if a change is warranted, make the change. That's what I've done over and over and over again. And I'll continue to do that. You know, if tomorrow a new study comes out with better information and it's foolproof and it looks right, maybe I do that. You know, you never know. But it's to me, it's not about being dogmatic. It's not about I'm carnivore, I'm vegan, I'm this, I'm that, right? I eat those diets. I've done those diets. I've done a lot of different diets. Not because I want to lose a ton of weight, but I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to find what food works the best for me and makes me feel the best. What food makes my blood work better? What makes me healthy? Right? That's the goal. And the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of people, way too many people in this country who are fat as hell. And they got to lose a lot of weight because they're unhealthy. And I think one of the biggest disservices that we've ever done to people in this country is that whole accept everybody thing, where you're not allowed to fat shame. You're not allowed to tell people they're fat and they need to lose weight. Because all that did was make people comfortable and proud of being morbidly obese to where it's dangerous for them, you know? And hey, man, it's a free country. If you want to be a big fat fatty and you want to get diabetes and die, that's on you, man. I'm not saying you got to be healthy. But I'm saying if you're unhealthy and you want to be there for your kids later in life, maybe you ought to think about losing some weight, you know? And this diet is doing that for people. It's helping people lose weight. Now, down the road, will they find out possibly that this is different or that is different in the diet and tweak it a little bit? Probably, because that's the way science works. But the way I see it, if you can do something that is delicious, that makes you happy, gives you tons of energy, and you're losing a good amount of weight, and there's no real bad side effects to it, why the hell wouldn't you? I mean, to me, that's a great diet, you know? But up to everybody to make up your own mind. That's the information on it. It's not bullshit. It's not a fad. It's not stupid. You know, there's solid science behind it. And it's working for a lot of people and helping a lot of people, which is very, very cool. You know, anytime anybody can lose weight and get healthy, I'm super stoked for you. And that's the goal, is for everybody to be healthy, you know. And so if you're healthy doing carnivore and that works for you, great. But you're going to have issues with your thyroid. So be prepared for that. You're going to have issues. That's just the truth. If you're happy and healthy being a vegan and everything, cool. That's great. You're going to have issues with your B vitamins. You're going to have issues with protein. That's the truth. So be prepared for that supplement. Take care of yourself. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm just trying to give you the information that I found. This shit is cool, man. It is. I can't explain to you, if you're not a nerd like me and you don't follow all these studies and dig deep into shit like this literally turns everything we thought we knew about nutrition on its head. To the point where I thought it was ludicrous when I first heard it. I thought, this is horse shit. There's no way that works. That goes against everything I've ever learned. But I read the studies myself. And I read the testimonials of people that are actually doing it. And I learned the science on it. And it is freaking awesome. That's so cool, man. This kind of shit just blows me away. I love it when I can learn new shit. And this is really cool stuff, man. So give it a shot. Don't give it a shot. It's up to you. But now at least you have the information. So if somebody comes out there and puts out a video saying that it's bullshit or making fun of it or all that, just understand there's real science backing it up. What you choose to do, as we always say on this show and on Staring, it's up to you to make up your own mind. So whatever you choose to do is on you. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.